Sailor Network, come right on in. This is the Garry Moore Show, and this portion is brought to you by Rinso-Blue, the detergent that lifts dirt out of your wash like a magnet, and Lux liquid detergent, the next best thing to a dishwashing machine. And now...
Good morning. Good morning, all.
Good morning, good morning. Watch yourself.
Joint's falling apart already. Me and the joint are falling apart already. Good morning. How are you? Everybody all right?
Yes, yes. Good fellow. Well, they're there.
Always like to make sure that you're out there, you know.
They're there, yes,
hate that
indeed.
feeling of talking to myself. Good morning and welcome to our show on a kind of a miserable Wednesday in New York City, and I hope everybody got a good night's rest last night. Did you sleep well?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Crazy thing. I went to bed last night about 9:30 and slept like a log. Had trouble getting up this morning, and somehow or other it doesn't help me any. I feel weaker than Marilyn Monroe's shoulder strap. But I shouldn't complain, though, because it's a wonderful feeling nowadays. You know, I get up about 6:30, and it's a great joy to see that the mornings are getting light again. You can see your way around when you get up, and you get the feeling spring's not far off. This is Ash Wednesday.
Today.
Isn't it? The
Yes.
beginning of Lent.
Yes,
Easter's-
Shrove Tuesday yesterday.
Shrove Tuesday yesterday. And so spring's going to be here pretty soon. Cheer up.
March 21st. March 21st.
Is that when spring gets here?
I think that's it.
We'll have 12 inches of snow, I guarantee you. But we have a very nice group here in our studio audience today. Are these not, Derber? Look at those faces.
Yes?
Is this not a splendid representative group of American folk?
I think wonderful-looking people.
Handsome
Yes, indeed.
people.
As a matter of fact, I'll bet you this. I bet that Ed Sullivan is very jealous of us.
Why, because we have a nice audience, you mean?
No, I think that not only that, but you know how Ed is on his show. He is always introducing celebrities that he has in his studio audience.
Yeah.
Only he doesn't have a group as well known as we have here today.
Well, you
look
know, I
out
hadn't
here
looked
over
that
these people,
closely.
all the famous faces there. Look at
Oh,
them.
my gracious,
Huh?
look at the celebrities packed
Certainly.
into this place.
Sure.
Look at the
This
gentleman
is the
right
day.
over here. Look who is here all the way from Cape
Right down
Charles,
there.
Virginia. One of the best-known men in our country, sitting right down here, Mr. Russell Bradford. Mr. Bradford, will you stand up and take
Stand
a
up
bow?
there,
Bradford?
Right there, he's here.
Bradford, of course, as you all know, is the well-known songwriter. And his latest song hit was that well-known ballad called She Thought I Was an Arab Because My Loving Was Intense. Nice to have you with us, sir. Now, let's see who else we've got here in the way of celebrities. Why, Billy Fortner.
Right over there.
Billy Fortner sitting right over here all the way from Laurel, Mississippi.
Yes.
Miss Fortner, will you stand up
Stand
and
up
take
there.
a bow?
Sure, that's it. Right
Yeah. She is the well-known social counselor and author of that famous magazine article entitled, If Tommy Manville Married the Siamese Twins, How Long Would It Take Before They'd Be Separated?
Distinguished writer.
Nice to have you with us, indeed. And any more celebrities here, Dermot?
Yeah. There's a lady down here.
Oh,
right down
from San Angelo, Texas, Miss Bradshaw.
Right here.
Miss Bradshaw, stand up and take a bow.
Stand up, please.
She also is a well-known songwriter. I'm sure you're all familiar with her latest hit, A Girl Who Means It When She Winks Usually Winds Up Wearing Minks. Nice to have you with us. Well, I'm proud. Proud indeed. Now, which joke are you working on, Carl?
He's working on the one about the weather on March 21st.
Well, excuse me. Let's talk about Dear Rinso-Blue, shall we? You remember the old line about how high is up? How high is up could be, you know, like that high, could be this high, could be that high. Any kind of high. Doesn't make any difference. But I suppose there must be a real accurate scientific type answer to such questions. Questions like how white is white. But for me, when I think of whiteness, I think of how white Rinso-Blue gets my shirts. Because that is just about the whitest white that there is. You see, Rinso-Blue blues as it washes, right in its own hot, sudsy water. And you don't have to mix anything. You don't have to stop your washer to add the bluing because everything you need is right here in the box. And that bluing action works during the whole cleaning cycle. So whiteness is therefore washed into your clothes and not just rinsed in. And Rinso-Blue not only gets white things whiter, it's wonderful for colors, too. Makes them look fresher, you know. Now, if you washed print with red roses on it, those roses would come out looking just picked. You take my word for it, everything that you wash in Rinso-Blue will come clean because Rinso-Blue has special cleaning powers. For instance, there is one called a penetrator that reaches right down into the fibers. Then there is an extra cleaning ingredient to take care of extra soiled spots. Extra spoiled spots. Extra soiled spots. And last of all, but certainly not least important, there is a rinse-clean action that holds dirt away from the clothes. Now, all of these powers, they work together, you see, like a team of little magnets to loosen, to lift, and to pull the dirt from your wash. So the next time that you do a wash, you put those special cleaning powers to work for you. Pour Rinso Blue into your washer, and you will see with your own eyes that there is something magnetic about the way Rinso Blue works. You try it. Real great stuff. We have not yet heard from Denise Law or Ken Carson. They've been off stage kind of trying to get themselves into a mood. It isn't often that they do the more sophisticated type of numbers, but today they've got a really beautiful song, and it's called Unconditional Surrender. Denise and Ken.
It's unconditional surrender, darling. That's the way it's gotta be. You gotta settle down, never more to wonder if you marry me. Isn't that sentimental? Gotta have all your love and kissing. Gotta have all of you to hold. If anybody calls you darling, don't you listen, or else you're gonna wind up in the cold. It's unconditional surrender, darling. That's the way it's gotta be. You gotta settle down, never more to wonder if you marry me.
They didn't hear it, but
funny to say?
I just said it. I just said it, but they didn't hear it. Oh, my feet are killing me. Go ahead.
You gotta stop poker playing, mister.
Yeah, mister.
Gotta stop saying I'm all right. And if you're with a gal, she better be your sister. 'Cause if she ain't, you'll wish she was all right. It's unconditional surrender, darling. That's the way it's gotta be. You gotta settle down, never more to wonder if you marry me. That's not funny to say. I'll quit.
Go ahead and play. I ain't got nothing to do. I think we ought to shift gears just about now, don't you?
All right.
Better not catch you with the Iceman or any old milkman that you knew. And soon if Overbrush Man is a nice man, he better get the biggest brush from you. That's a hot one.
It's unconditional surrender, darling. That's the way it's gonna be. You gotta settle down, never more to wonder if you marry me.
Now comes the melodramatic part. We get real oh.
Gotta have all of you to love. Gotta have you to hold me tight. That pretty little gal tattooed upon your torso, you better rub it off before tonight. It's unconditional surrender, darling. That's the way it's gotta be. You gotta settle down, never more to wonder if you marry me. We figured wrong.
Come out and take a bow. That was Ken Carson and his partner Denise Law, prominent clubwoman of Coscob, Connecticut. What a get-up, huh? If you think that singing was something, let me read you a letter. This just fractures me. You might have heard a rumor that I have a new album out for Columbia Records. I've been kind of passing the word around in a sly way for about the past four weeks. And on this record, there are about 11 11 different numbers on it, but I sing in one of these numbers. First time I ever tried it in my life, and no doubt the last. I got a wonderful letter from a very good friend of ours by the name of Georgia Giannakis Hayden, or Hayden. I'm not sure how Georgia pronounces her last name, because she hasn't been married too long. I knew her under her maiden name of Georgia Giannakis for a long time. And she has a program out there on WTTV in Indianapolis, Derwin. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a disc jockey show on television, and each week they play a record. It's a mystery voice, a vocal, and the listeners have to write in for prizes. They have to identify the vocalist. So they played my record of me singing the blues, didn't tell anybody who it was. And this, in her letter, she says that among the guesses as to who was singing were the following names: Lionel Hampton, Count Basie, Louis Armstrong, and Betty Ann Grove. Betty Ann Grove.
Poor Betty.
Yeah, I think that's funny. She'll probably kill herself. Ken, I got one short letter here that I must read for you. This is from Mrs. Botten of Oklahoma City. Says, "Dear Gary and all the gang, I feel as if I know you all personally. I look forward to your show every morning. The Oklahoma folks are very proud of our own Ken Carson. You know he is pretty talented. But I cannot believe that Ken Carson is old enough to have a son as old as Johnny Carson. A friend said that Johnny is Ken Carson's son. Please tell me if this is true. I'm quite sure my friend is mistaken." Is Johnny Carson your son?
Well, in a way, no. And the most importantly, I guess.
The answer, of course, Mrs. Botten, is that Ken is not Johnny Carson's father. He's his grandfather. Isn't that funny? Somebody is pulling someone's leg, and I think it's yours.
We were down in Oklahoma City quite some months ago, Johnny and I, and I probably acted like his father down there. That's probably
so long as you didn't act like his son, it's
Yeah.
all right. Well, now let's get practical, shall we? You know, the chances are that you're going to have your big meal of the day tonight, which means dishes to wash. So you just wash them this way, and you will be okay, for sure.
Here is a job that has made more than one woman shudder. Stacks of dirty dishes to get through. But here is what gets rid of those dirty dishes fast and easy. Lux liquid detergent. It's packed in a can that won't break. And 1 little teaspoonful of Lux liquid does the dishes for a family of 4. Makes suds like these. There's even a special dripless spout that means easy pouring and no messy handling. Milk-stained glasses come clean in no time. Now the secret? Lux liquid cuts under grease, lifts it up, and floats it off dishes. And Lux liquid is the only liquid detergent that is Lux mild on your hands. So make dishwashing lots less work with the next best thing to a dishwashing machine, Lux liquid detergent. Yes, ma'am, that Lux liquid is really something. And the only people who think that we go a little overboard on it are those who have never used it. And that is a fact, because just 1 night's worth of Lux liquid, all of a teaspoonful if you're keeping tabs, and anybody knows why we call Lux liquid the next best thing to a dishwashing machine. Just use it once. You'll see. Because you're going to be on our side of the fence from then on in.
And that is for dang sure. I have just 25 seconds left here, so I will read you from Laura Lee Newman of San Leandro, California, a letter labeled Short Funny Joke. Here is Short Funny Joke. A young officer who had been on overseas duty for a year got a letter from his wife telling about a prayer their 4-year-old daughter said before going to bed. "Dear Lord, please send me a little baby brother so we will have something to surprise Daddy with when he gets home." Short funny joke. Time for station identification. We'll be right back with another 15 minutes, Howard.
And this portion of the Garry Moore Show is brought to you by new Rinso Blue and Lux liquid detergent. Buy some when you shop. Come right on in. This is the Garry Moore Show, and this portion is brought to you today by Franco-American Spaghetti, America's favorite ready-to-eat spaghetti, and new Italian-style Franco-American Spaghetti with meatballs. And now...
Good morning. Thank you very, very much.
Oh.
That's very nice of you, and good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hello. How are you there at home? I hope you are well on this miserable day here in New York City. The air is so thick you could almost squeeze it and get yourself a drink of water.
Sticky.
Boy, it is sticky. How are you, Kenneth?
Oh, I never felt better and had less in my life.
Durbert, you are well?
Fine, yes.
Denise?
Very nice.
Fine.
Very good.
What's a nice kid like you doing in a place like this? Don't you know there's a broken heart for every light on Broadway?
Yeah,
Go home, marry the boy next door.
Marjorie Morningstar.
Marjorie Morningstar, yeah. Hey, I got a couple of items here that I think are kind of interesting. Are any of you gentlemen here in our studio audience this morning on your way to Europe, perchance? Anybody just stopping off in New York while they take the boat for Europe?
There's a
One little
gentleman
girl
right
down
there.
there. Man, huh? I got a tip for that man. Get your pencil out. Oh, what you want to do is, when you go to England, you want to stop at a place called South Sea. South Sea, England, you want to drop into a little seaside cafe there, because according to a dispatch from Reuters News Service, there's a pretty 18-year-old waitress at this cafe who is causing so much furor with her fabulous figure that the manager had to put this sign up on the wall. He said, "Notice, patrons are kindly requested not to waste the waitress's time by asking for her vital statistics. They are as follows: 41 and a half, 26, 37. Imagine that. That sounds kind of like a waitress that I used to go around with in Baltimore. She was 41 and a half years old, and her measurements were 18, 26, 37. I remember her clear as a bell. And I hope that nobody minds, but I am going to break a long-standing rule here and deliver a personal message on the show this morning. And this is to Mr. Eugene M. Sherphorn of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And if you're watching, Mr. Sherphorn, I want to say to you, do not be discouraged. Have perseverance. Carry on with what you had in mind. You see, this gentleman, Mr. Sherphorn, had a very nasty shock the other day. All he did was ask his girl to marry him. But he made one mistake. He proposed while he was driving along with her in his car. She was so delighted, she threw her arms around him, he lost control and slammed into another automobile. And now the intended bride is in the hospital with minor bruises, and the gentleman has a bill for $225 in damages to the two cars. But look to the brighter side, sir. This may be the first time in history that the question has ever popped a man. Huh? And I got one letter here that just kills me because it is so true. The lady says, "Do not use my name." The initials are BWR from Denver, Colorado. And she talks about this is the eternal struggle between man and wife. Eternal. You will all recognize yourselves in this. She says that in Denver here we have our symphony concerts early in the week. When my friend John came in tired one night thinking of slippers and watching television, he was met at the door by Anne, who said, "I have drawn your bath, dear. You will just have time before dinner to get dressed, because remember, it is symphony night." So John groaned, but they went. When they returned from the concert, John was in bed in no time flat. But Anne had all the things to do first that all women do. Put her evening dress in its bag, the trees in the slippers, wash out her stockings, pin up her hair, brush her teeth, cream her face, John all the time watching her from his bed. Finally, when she put lotion on her hands and pulled on a pair of gloves, John couldn't stand it any longer. He hollered, "For heaven's sakes, Anne, put on your hat and come to bed." Great.
Yeah.
Put on your hat and come to bed. Gee whiz. That is so true. That's you ladies. If a man wants to kiss his wife goodnight and he's got to fight his way through $2.50 worth of hardware, you know, all that tin stuff on your head. Let's talk about matters which are more practical. This is the time of the year when the kids come tumbling into the house for lunch, and they got summer appetites, play appetites that are about twice the standard size, the kind of appetites that call for a good, nourishing lunch and nothing less. Now, this fact you know, but what to do about it? I mean, how can you whip together the good, nourishing lunch without having to stew around in the kitchen in this miserable weather? Well, I think that happily enough, I have the answer for you. Right here, Franco-American spaghetti. This is America's favorite ready-to-eat spaghetti, and think of this, if you will. It is good. The kids like the flavor of it. Now, next, Franco-American is made to give your youngsters the nourishment that you want them to have. Nourishment from the prize-winning tomatoes that are used in making the sauce. Nourishment from the fine cheddar cheese that is also in the sauce. Nourishment from the high-quality wheat spaghetti. That's cooked just right, and it's cut just right. And on top of everything else, remember that you can get Franco-American spaghetti ready to eat in just 3 minutes' time, just the amount of time that it takes you to heat it up. So you got a hot lunch, you got a nourishing lunch, a lunch the kids like, and no fuss for you. That's Franco-American spaghetti with tomato sauce and cheese. It makes a whale of a good side dish, too. It's America's favorite ready-to-eat spaghetti, and you'll see why when you try it. And I do hope you will, huh? We going to have song from Denise Law, and this is a beautiful thing. I think of you with every breath I take.
I think of you with every breath I take, and every breath becomes a sigh. Not a sigh of despair, but a sigh that I care for you. I hear your name with every breath I take, on every breeze that wanders by, and your name is a song I remember the long years through. Even though I walk alone, you guide me. In the darkness, you light my way. And all the while inside me, love seems to say, someday, someday. And when I sleep, you keep my heart awake. But when I wake from dreams divine, every breath that I take is a prayer that I'll make you mine. Even though I walk alone, you guide me. In the darkness, you light my way. And all the while, inside me, love seems to say, someday, someday. And when I sleep, you keep my heart awake. But when I wake from dreams divine, every breath that I take is a prayer that I'll make you mine.
That, by the way, is Mademoiselle Laura's newest recording. Am I right, Denise?
Yes.
What
one
lab-
side of it.
What, huh?
That's one side.
Oh, you got two sides on this
Oh,
record.
yeah.
Hey, that's
side.
nice.
There's a flip
What's
side.
on the other side?
A song called My Claim to Fame.
My Claim to Fame? Liberty label, huh?
Yes.
Everybody go out and buy several thousand copies so Denise can take a vacation. I associate that tune with Crosby somehow or other. Was that from a Crosby picture?
It's an old Bing Crosby.
Sounds, gee, boy, that makes you feel old. Because that was when I was around 18 or 20, and now he's old enough to have a son who's got his own show. I don't know what I'm talking about. My oldest boy is old enough to play in a dance band now. You ought to hear this combination the kids have got. They're playing all the teenage dances out around our part of the country. You ought to hire them sometime. Then I can take a vacation. And they work cheap and loud. Cheap and loud. That's hard to get in one band. Cheap and loud. They blow real hard, and they're non-union. Can I get thrown out of the union, Howard, for soliciting work for a non-union band?
You just were.
Gee, I hate to get thrown out of the union. You get buried free, you know.
That's a nice comforting thought on a Monday morning.
Oh, you do, Howard? Don't you get a... Don't you... Howard says, what are they waiting for? Sometimes they bury you when you ain't quite ready. Howard, but don't you get a free funeral from the musicians union?
in an upright position.
I think you get 1,000. You haven't found out yet, huh? It says you get it in an upright position, completely lowered. I think they bury you for free, and they give you, and there's $1,000 insurance policy or something. And I can hardly wait. I'm gonna have a band made of 47 tubas playing for me in a cave. That would make a nice sound, don't you think? See, I'll never forget the first time I met Bing Crosby. It was probably the biggest thrill of my life. I had moved to Hollywood. I went out there when I was teamed with Durante, and my good fortune happened rather suddenly, and I hadn't been exposed to meeting big stars, big names. And so the first thing I did when I got to Hollywood, I went to the Brown Derby to have dinner. Now, who do you think I saw there the first night?
I don't know.
Franklin Pangborn. And then later on that night, I went over to Chasen's, you know. And when I got into Chasen's, sitting right at the first table, when I walked in the door, Franklin Pangborn. And for 3 days, everywhere I went, I saw Franklin Pangborn, and that's all I ever saw. But finally, I met Bing Crosby. He and I appeared on a show together. And Dinah Shore had not really arrived at that time either. And I remember there was standing right in a row, there was Bing, and Dinah right next to her, and then right next to her was Kitty Callan, you know. So somebody said, "This is Bing Crosby." See, I just sat there, my eyes bugged out, you know, "How do you do?" And then they said, "This is Dinah Shore," and I grabbed Kitty Callan's hand and said, "How do you do?" And Dinah had to take my hand out of Kitty's and say, "No, I'm Dinah Shore." I was so thrilled at meeting Crosby. Tremendous man, tremendous fellow. Durward, I have spoken about one of our good Franco-American products. Will you talk about t'other for a moment?
And did you know that there's a new face that's been smiling at you from your grocery store shelf?
Oh, laughing right out loud. Sure.
Why, there is, really. And I want to see if I can get you two together, as a matter of fact. The new face is this one, Franco-American spaghetti with meatballs, Italian style. Now, you get Italian-style sauce, rich and smooth, made with just enough of the just right herbs and spices, and next the meatballs, and they are certainly tender and beefy, made with the deft hand on the seasonings. And last but not least, you get thin strand spaghetti. Thin strand spaghetti, the kind that cooks up real, real nice. So you have a spicy sauce, tender beefy meatballs, and thin strand spaghetti. That is Franco-American spaghetti with meatballs, Italian style. Now, this is the way the can looks, and this is my tip to you. If you will try them, I think you will be real pleased. You have something to add?
Well, only that I want to be sure that everyone has a very clear picture on the two different Franco-American spaghetti products. There are two of them. There's the Franco-American spaghetti, America's favorite ready-to-eat spaghetti. That's the one with the rich tomato sauce and the cheese. And then the new product, new Franco-American spaghetti with meatballs, Italian style. This is a spicier Italian sauce and meatballs that are tender and beefy and thin strand spaghetti. So that's the two of them, Franco-American spaghetti and new Franco-American spaghetti with meatballs, Italian style. They're both different, they're both good to eat, so you try them and you will see. And I remember about 3 days after I met Crosby, I went out to play golf with some friends. And these were non-show business friends, and we were coming down one fairway, and Crosby was coming up the other one. I thought to myself, gee, I wonder if he remembers having met me. I wonder if he's going to speak to me. And he remembered. He waved to me with a big smile and says, "Hiya, Larry." 4 holes later, we passed him again. He looked at him and says, "Hiya, Barry." All the way around the course. You would think out of, just out of law of averages, he hit G once, but he never did. Harry, Larry, Barry. He's a great singer, that Bing Crosby. Well, now it's time for station break, and we'll be right back. Howard. Hiya, Barry.
The Garry Moore Show is brought to you by Sta-Flo, America's #1 liquid laundry starch, and Stay Puff, the revolutionary new laundry rinse that brings new softness and fluffiness to your entire laundry. And let's talk about this wonderful product for just a moment, if we may. Sta-Flo liquid laundry starch. One of the big advantages of Sta-Flo liquid laundry starch, as far as the hot weather goes, is that it is the modern and the cool way of starching. There's no boiling, no mixing to do, and no hot, steamy kitchens to put up with, because Sta-Flo is pre-cooked, it's already mixed, it's a liquid laundry starch, and it comes ready to use right from the bottle. Now, all you do is just pour Sta-Flo liquid laundry starch down into the water. The water can be hot or cold, by the way, and you are all set for the starching of your life. So why don't you try starching the easy and the modern way, the cool way, with pre-cooked Sta-Flo liquid laundry starch. And here's Garry.
Thank you, Dermot, very much. Now, friends, I would like to ask you if you know what these are. These are a pair of postman's trousers. The letter carrier who wore these was bitten by dogs while delivering the mail for the people of the United States. 5 homes in a row, dogs bit the postman. And at the 6th house, the dog didn't bite him, but his fleas did. Now, friends, this is a deplorable situation. Did your dog ever bite a letter carrier? Postmaster General Summerfield wants to know, do you protect your mailman from attack? Or is your attitude, let her rip? Now, maybe you just haven't known how serious this situation was. Now, if you are not aware of that, let me introduce today 2 of America's brave postal employees. And they are here to tell you about this dangerous situation. One of them, of course, is the happy postman, that gay, smiling fellow who delivers the mail to our theater, Charlie Gay and Fred.
Letters. We got letters. We got stacks and stacks of letters.
Well, my golly, here you are, the bad and the beautiful.
So, well, I'm not beautiful.
And I'm not so bad.
No, you sure aren't. Are you a postman?
Yeah, I am Charlie Gay's sister.
Huh?
That's right. I am Charlie Gay. This is my sister here, Mr. Moore. Oofy Gay.
Oofy Gay. And you are here to tell us about the trouble that postmen have with dogs, are you?
That's correct, yeah. You see, the situation is just terrible. Why, just this very morning, I was bitten by 2 beagles and a flying pickle hound. This morning.
A flying pickle hound?
An air deal. It was a harrowing experience.
Wait for the roar of laughter to die down.
I was waiting, but it's only a half-hour show. I didn't want to wait.
You may forge ahead now.
That dog was owned by a little old lady who saw it happen.
Well, didn't the little old lady call off her dog?
Yeah, she called off the dog, then she bit me. And as she bit me, she said, that's for being late with my photo of Elvis Presley.
I would have done the same thing under the circumstances.
Yeah.
Sounds incredible.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Moore, it's hard to figure out public. I mean, why do they keep such dangerous beasts on the premises?
Well, I have a dog myself.
Postmaster tells us to carry candy for the dog. Candy.
Candy?
Those dogs don't want our candy. They want our shredded feet.
I'm sorry about all this. Is there any one breed of dog that gives you more trouble than any other breed of dog?
Yes, there is. Mm-hmm.
What kind of dog is it?
It begins with a K.
Begins with a K.
Yeah.
Is it the Kerry Blue?
No, it's not a Kerry Blue. No.
Is it a collie?
Collie doesn't begin with a K.
Well, that's right. Let me see now. A dog that begins with a K.
I've got it. It's a canine.
Oh, they're the worst kind. They'll bite you more often than any other dog in the whole wide.
Sure. It's awful, you know, and the trouble gets worse with every passing week.
Why is that?
More dogs are born all the time.
More dogs are born, you mean?
Letters. We get letters. We got stacks and stacks of letters.
Well, aren't there any? I just got that. Very good. Aren't there any pooches that are nice to you?
Here and there, yes.
Yes.
Rocky Marciano's dog is nice.
What kind of a dog does Rocky Marciano have?
Well, it isn't any kind of a dog. It used to be a boxer. But it has to be tired.
But you say that this dog is an exception?
Yes, sir. Mostly, see, the dogs are waiting for us as we come up the walk.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we approach, then snap, then they bite there.
Yeah. We can't do nothing but suffer.
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 Well, I wonder why... If a fly goes in there, you're going to be in bad trouble. I wonder why people don't teach their dogs to be nice to you.
Once in a while they do, Mr. Moore, but yesterday now, a man called
called to his hound who was charging me, and he said, nice mailman, Rover. Nice mailman. Shake hands with the mailman.
And did the hound shake your hand?
Yeah, yeah. Of course, my hand was between his teeth at the time, but...
My.
That's just...
There's an interesting line, I think. My.
It got me right there.
There's just nothing we could do about the animals that attack us. So far this week I have been bitten 3 times by dogs and scratched 2 times by cats and attacked by a pet skunk.
A skunk?
Yeah, a skunk.
Is there any air conditioning for the letter carriers?
Air conditioning for letter carriers?
Yeah.
No.
I could have sworn I had heard about carrier air conditioning.
If there is such a thing, we have no room in the sack for it.
No.
No, sir, we don't. We hardly have room for any mail. You know that? Now that we carry candy for the dog.
Yeah.
Milk for the cat.
Milk for the cat.
Bird seed for the
Bird
parrot.
seed.
Tin kids for any goats
kids
we
for
may
the-
happen to be.
That's right.
This is a goat's hors d'oeuvre, huh?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Huh?
And to top it off,
You're not losing... You've only got one more line to go, you know. Hold up.
you know, I was going to say, and to top it off,
You don't have to try to...
oh yeah, to top it off, the postmaster told us to have this ready for any rabbits that come along our route.
Well, rabbits. What's that?
Rabbits. We got rabbits. We got stacks and stacks of lettuce.
Goodbye. Very nuts. Both of them. Now, let's talk about Sta-Flo liquid laundry milk. I'm all confused here as to what I'm supposed to tell you about now. Say, this is the greatest thing since the invention of women. I'll tell you what we got coming up. This may not be the ideal weather for talking about furs, but I'm sure that most of you women won't mind if I tell you how you can go about winning a full-length, $10,000 mink coat for yourself. Do you mind if I tell you? Well, here it is. It's modeled for us by Denise, and it's the first prize in our big Staley $63,000 mink sweepstakes. A full-length, genuine Emba Autumn Haze mink coat that is worth $10,000. Now, I said this was our first prize. There are also 53 other prizes. Each of these 53 other prizes is a $1,000 ranch mink stole. That makes a grand total of 54 prizes in all. And all you have to do to win is to tell us why you like Sta-Flo laundry starch or Stay Puft laundry rinse. That's all. You just complete either of these statements in 25 additional words or less and mail your entry along with the name portion of the label of either a bottle of Sta-Flo or Stay Puft and your own name and address, and you mail it to this address: Mink, Box 717, Chicago 77, Illinois. That's Mink, Box 717, Chicago 77, Illinois. Now remember, our contest ends on August 31st, and all entries must be postmarked not later than midnight of that date. And here's a big extra for you, by the way. If you send in both a Sta-Flo and a Stay Puft label along with your entry, and if you are one of the lucky 54 winners, we will also insure your furs for you against fire and theft for a full year. So you pick up a bottle of Sta-Flo and Stay Puft at your grocer's today, and you'll find all the details you need, plus the entry blank right here on the label of any Sta-Flo or Stay Puft bottle. And, of course, you can also get entry blanks direct from your grocer himself. Let's take another look. Here's that first prize again, this very glamorous, full-length, $10,000 mink coat. And the next 53 prizes are $1,000 ranch mink stoles. So you get busy now and send in your entry in this really sensational contest. It's the big Staley $63,000 mink sweepstakes. You might as well enter. There got to be 54 winners. You could be one of them, you know. From Ken Carson, we have another great old standard song, Ken's version of Just One of Those Things.
just one of those crazy things, one of those bells that now and then rings. Just one of those things, it was just one of those nights. Just one of those fabulous flights, a trip to the moon on gossamer wings. Just one of those things, had we thought a bit of the end of it when we started painting the town, we'd have been aware that our love affair was too hot not to cool down. So goodbye, dear, and amen. Here's hoping we'll meet now and then. It was great fun, but it was just one of those things. It was just one of those things. Just one of those crazy things. One of those bells that now and then rings. Just one of those things. It was just one of those crazy nights. Just one of those fabulous flights. We took a trip to the moon on gossamer wings. Just one of those things. Had we thought of it, of the end of it when we started painting the town up and down, we'd have been aware that this love affair was too hot, much too hot to cool down. So goodbye, dear, and amen. Here's hoping we'll meet now and then. It was great fun, but it was just one of those things.
Well, we got to knock it off. It's been a great joy being with you today. I'm in a kind of a hurry, frankly, to get out of here because I saw a wonderful movie that's showing around the corner, one of the Broadway theaters. You got one of the best programs I've heard of in a long time. I made a note of it as I walked past. The title on the marquee says, "The Lieutenant Wore Skirts and Selected Shorts." So that's what it said right on the marquee. And so until tomorrow, then, at the same time, this will be Garry Moore saying bye-bye for all of us. Be very kind to each other, will you? Goodbye out there.
This portion of the Garry Moore Show has been brought to you by Stay Puft Rinse, the revolutionary new laundry rinse, and Sta-Flo, America's #1 liquid laundry starch.